Bully Ray, Bubba Ray, Dudley, famous Dudley Boys. You guys have done everything there could be in tag team wrestling, and then you've won every title, and every title that isn't out there you probably won too.
Right.
When you look back a little bit at it, how do you quantify what you and D-Von have been able to do? Because I'm sure at the beginning, it's not like, yeah, we're going to win every title. It's like, hey, let's try to make something out of this. How did that go for you? How do you quantify that?
I think one of the things that I'm most proud of is the fact that me and D-Von turned something that was never supposed to be that successful into something as successful as it has been. You know, the original concept for the Dudleys was a goofy storyline gimmick with a bunch of dysfunctional brothers who came together, kind of like the Hanson brothers from Slapstick or Slapshot, whatever.
Yeah, the Paul Newman hockey
Yep,
movie.
exactly. And when me and D-Von first got together and we first feuded, we had such a great chemistry as adversaries that I knew that if me and him ever got together, we would have something special. And I remember, you know, the day I actually went to Paul Heyman and I said, why don't we try this? And he agreed. And from the very first night in ECW Arena, when we hit our first Dudley Death Drop, it just worked. It just felt right. I kind of equate it to when a rock and roll band gets in a garage for the first time together and they hit that first note and they do that first song and it just feels right and it just sounds right. That's the way it was with me and D-Von. So I'm proud of the fact that we've taken it from what it was to what it has evolved into. I'll never sit here and I will never tell you that me and D-Von are the greatest tag team of all time. I don't know how you quantify who's the best or who's the greatest, because it's pro wrestling and it's really subjective. I can say that we are the most successful tag team of all time because we've accomplished what no other team was able to do. Obviously, the Road Warriors did it because the AWA titles were around. We didn't have the luxury of having the AWA around, but with the amount of world titles that we were able to, quote unquote, win, and the longevity and the success we've had, that is what I am most proud of.
What do you think of, you mentioned the Road Warriors. What did you think of the Road Warriors?
To me, they are the be-all and end-it-all when it came to tag teams, because by no means were the Road Warriors the greatest wrestlers in the world. They weren't even close to the greatest wrestlers in the world.
No disrespect, Hulk Hogan wasn't the greatest wrestler in the world.
Exactly, but they were the founding fathers of a team that just took over and just commanded people's attention. When the Road Warriors came to the ring, you knew something was about to happen. You knew people were going to get beat up. You were going to see something special. And I was always a huge fan. I did not care whether they could grab a headlock, do a hip toss, because to me that never really mattered. What mattered was the entertainment factor and the fact that when the Road Warriors were done, you knew you had just seen something special. And that's the way me and D-Von have always gone about the way we wrestle and we entertain. Are you going to get the greatest technical wrestling match with the Dudleys? Absolutely not. But when we're done, are you going to walk away with a huge smile on your face knowing that you just saw something really, really cool and special? Absolutely.
I'm listening to you, and I'm also listening to
Ozzy in the background.
Right, because I'm thinking of the Road Warriors and Iron Man. I'm like,
Yep, it was meant to be.
My God. It's interesting to me too, because when you first started with the whole Dudley Boys and ECW, and you go to Paul Heyman with this, we want to do something together. Just how talk about how good he was or is, as far as you being able to go and talk to him for something like that, where he's not going to be so dismissive as if to say, well, maybe we'll see. It seemed like he was always a lot of times on board with things that you all would suggest.
Paul Heyman was probably the most accessible boss I've ever had in my life. I always say that ECW was the greatest place in the world to work, and it was the worst place in the world to work. It was the greatest place because you had total freedom. You could say what you wanted. You could do what you wanted. You could talk to Paul. You could yell and scream with Paul like me and him did on several occasions. But it was all about the passion of the industry and making the product better. You got to speak your mind, whether that was for 1 minute or whether that was for 5 hours. And that was the great part about it. But that's also why it was the worst place, because that doesn't go on in the quote-unquote real world of pro wrestling. You can't fight every single battle. You kind of have to do what you're told a little more. So, you know, here we are coming out of ECW and get to the WWE, and here I am handling business the same way that I handled business in ECW, just thinking that I was doing the best thing for the match and for the product, and all of a sudden they're like, who the hell is this guy coming at us like a ton of bricks? So, you know, I kind of learned on the fly how to be a little bit more of a professional businessman when it came to wrestling, and I'm glad I learned the way I learned, because it was a unique way to learn. And you know, as far as Paul as a mind and as a mentor, to me he's the best. I mean, between my top three are Paul, Vince McMahon, and Pat Patterson, because those, to me, those are the greatest minds that I've been around, all for different reasons. And you know, Paul would sit there, and some nights it took me 3 or 4 hours to get out a good promo, and we'd be filming to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. He would not let us walk away unless the promo was perfect. He wasn't going to let you be anything less than the absolute best you could be, and that is kind of how me and D-Von have always gone about our career, and that's how we train our students at our school.
When I get to the school, I want to ask you.
And now the Ramones are on, which is even cooler.
Rest in peace. Was it Joey? One of the two I remember passed away.
The only one that's still alive is Marky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
all right, so
the
Joey
drummer.
Too. Yeah, rest in peace.
Yep.
They revolutionized the music industry with the heck. I saw an old video of Rock and Roll High School.
Yeah.
MTV Classics playing old videos.
If I could get in my DeLorean right now and go back in time, I would want to see the Ramones play at CBGB's in New York City.
Oh, wow. So that's your area, too, New York City.
Yep.
So, interesting to me with ECW, the fact that you're coming out with the weird framed glasses, right? Yep. The nerdy type glasses, and the overalls
and the tie-dyes,
right? Here's something I've always wanted to ask, and now it got me. Where did you guys get that stuff? Did you just go to like the Salvation Army stores or the little thrift shops?
Yeah, just like an Army Navy store. I mean, the tie-dyes you could get anywhere. The overalls we just get used to get in an Army Navy store. You could get the horn-rimmed glasses at a 7-Eleven. You just pop out the lenses and put some white tape on it. It wasn't really that difficult of an outfit to come up with, you know. And me and D-Von came kind of late in the Dudleys. There were like 5 or 6 Dudleys before me and D-Von had even got there. So it was fun because it was so different. It was so outside of out of the box of what a pro wrestler should look like, and and it worked. So that's all that matters, is it works.
It did work. Did you mind doing the stuttering at any time? Because you had to do stuttering.
I stuttered for places, it's the only thing. It's the only thing I had.
That's
I was when I was trained to be a pro wrestler, I was trained horribly. Somebody stole my money and basically sold me on a bill of goods. I won't even say his name just because I'm still to this day hold a grudge against the person for screwing me over. So I was trained poorly. I didn't know, how to do anything in a wrestling ring, but I could entertain. So the stuttering and the dancing and all the entertaining is what got me by for a good year in ECW, and I was like other than like a Dreamer or a Sandman, I was like the top babyface there for a year just based on stuttering and dancing. And then I'd had to wrestle, and that's when it really, and I remember the night that I got exposed, which was in the ECW arena, and I had a singles match against Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey.
I remember Jimmy Dillon.
And
Heavenly Bodies.
Yeah,
Right.
and I was horrible. And that's when the people just turned on me and they went, "You're the shits." And that's like, that was an eye-opening night for me. Like, I better learn how to do this in the ring the right way really, really quick. And I still don't know what I'm doing in the ring. I just learned how to use.
That. It looks good. Whatever you're doing
Well,
looks good,
I just know how to use my smoke and mirrors really well.